Hello, and thanks for watching. In this video, you will learn about the difference between exotic and invasive species, as well as study a few examples of each. Before we discuss what an exotic species is, let's talk about the word exotic. What does the word exotic mean? The word exotic means originating in or coming from a distant foreign country. So if we are talking about an exotic species, we are talking about a species of plant or animal that has been relocated to a non-native location, meaning that it isn't currently where it is originally from. This doesn't necessarily have to be from another country. It could be from another state, too. Perhaps you have heard of exotic pets before. Can you think of exotic pets that people have? These are pets that are not native to the United States, so you won't naturally see them outside your window. Some examples are tarantulas, bearded dragons, and hedgehogs. None of these animals are native to the United States, and they are all exotic because someone has taken them from their native location and brought them here, where they are not native. Next, we can look at invasive species. What does the word invasive mean? If a person was being invasive, that would mean a person is invading or intruding on someone else's thoughts or personal space where they are unwelcome and uninvited. Take this picture of a burglar here. This person is an invader and intruder, someone who is breaking into a place where they don't belong and is going to cause harm. When the word invasive is used to describe plants or animals specifically, it would mean to reproduce and spread undesirably or harmfully. So we can use that information to understand that an invasive species is definitely a harmful species. But there is more to it than that. Notice how the first definition explained how invasive means uninvited and unwelcome. When we talk about an invasive species, that means it is also uninvited and unwelcome, meaning it doesn't belong there. What did we just say was a type of species that is taken to where it isn't naturally from and doesn't belong? Exotic. So invasive species are actually exotic species too. But what makes them different from any old exotic species is that an invasive species is one that is negatively affecting the new location that it has been brought to. Invasive species are harmful and don't belong there. Exotic and invasive species are mainly spread by human activities, oftentimes by accident. People and the goods we use travel around the world very quickly, and they often carry uninvited guests with them. Ships can carry aquatic organisms in the water within them. Insects can also get into wood, shipping pallets, and crates that are shipped around the world. Some ornamental plants used for decoration and landscaping can escape into the wild and become invasive, like baby's breath, which is commonly used in making bouquets of flowers. Some invasive species are intentionally or accidentally released pets. Burmese pythons are becoming a big problem in the Florida Everglades. People get them as pets, and then when they get too big, they can get released into the wild, causing destruction. Invasive species can cause harm to wildlife in many ways. When a new and aggressive species is introduced into an ecosystem, it might not have any natural predators or controls. It can breed and spread very quickly, taking over an area. Native wildlife may not have defenses against the invader, or they cannot compete with a species that has no predators. The direct threats of invasive species are preying on native species, outcompeting native species for food or other resources, causing or carrying disease, and preventing native species from reproducing or killing their young. Invasive species can also indirectly cause problems by changing food webs, decreasing the diversity of life in an area, and altering the conditions of an ecosystem. Here are a few examples of invasive species in the United States. Zebra mussels first came to the U.S. from Eurasia in shipped ballast water released into the Great Lakes of Michigan. Since 1988, they have spread dramatically, outcompeting native species for food and habitat. Zebra mussels can attach to almost any hard surface. They clog water intake and discharge pipes, attach themselves to boat hulls and docks, and they even attach to native mussels and crayfish. Another example is Coggan grass. Coggan grass is an Asian plant that arrived in the U.S. as seeds in packing material. It is now spreading through the southeast, displacing native plants. It provides no food value for native wildlife and increases the threat of wildfire as it burns hotter and faster than native grasses. Feral pigs are another example of an invasive species. Feral pigs will eat almost anything, including native birds. They compete with native wildlife for food sources, such as acorns. Feral pigs spread diseases, such as brucellosis, to people and livestock. E. coli from their feces was implicated in the E. coli contamination of baby spinach in 2006. I want to add a quick note here at the end of this video. On your test, one of the vocabulary words that you will encounter in a fill-in-the-blank word bank is endangered. While we're also talking about endangered species, I'll throw extinct species in there too. An endangered species is a species that is in danger, exactly like the word sounds. But in danger of what, you might ask? Well, they are in danger of dying out and becoming extinct. There are a small number of them left, and they are at risk for completely dying out as a species. Once all of the members of a species have died, you can't get them back, and the species becomes extinct. Some examples of endangered species are orangutans and black rhinos. We still have some of them. They aren't all gone, but their numbers are getting smaller, and they are at a great risk for becoming extinct. A couple examples of extinct species that aren't on Earth anymore are dodo birds, Carolina parakeets, and saber-toothed tigers.